And they were like, what, these hats, how are we singing a Nautanki? The actors were also like a little, hassled. And then I said, listen, just imagine yourself in Hogwarts, right? You guys, you've just gotten a muggle and you have dragged him into the world of magic. He's fallen in love. There you go. You're like, oh, love has happened. Muggle, come here. Now you're a part of us. We will give you a rose. We will give you a glass of wine. And we will take you along with us.
Guys, 7 seasons and we've been partners with AADYAM and Aditya Birla Group Initiative. I personally look forward to every season of AADYAM because I get to have these very rousing, wonderful, uplifting conversation with theatre folk. And believe you me, if you're in my profession, the 3rd decade in it, you yearn for people who just are articulate and make 360-degree conversations. And I find theatre people do that a lot. AADYAM Theatre presents Chandni Raatein. This is the Delhi showing. Please make a note of this. 1st of March, 7:30 p.m. at Kamani. Gates open at 7. 2nd of March, there are 2 showings, 4 and 7:30 p.m. at Kamani. Tickets are at insider.in, and District by Zomato. So 2 places for your tickets, either District by Zomato or insider.in. And the show is part of season 7 AADYAM Theatre. Purva Naresh, playwright, theatre producer, director, and very, very old friend of mine, is back in the studio. I'm so happy to see you. How are you?
I'm happy to see you, Hrishi, and I'm fine, absolutely fine. Thank you.
I have seen Chandni Raatein and as usual, stunned by Purva's mastery over music, the theatre form, the half musical theatre form, the drama. I mean, what's not to love? But I want to start at the fact that this is an adaptation of White Nights by Dostoevsky. Mm-hmm. And really, I think when you and me are growing up, I can only speak about myself. I'm quite the dinosaur. You're still young and vibrant and beautiful. But Russian authors were a big thing. I mean, we were always fed on a healthy diet of great Russian authors. And I find the current generation doesn't have access to that many, or even if they have access, they're not inclined to read about those Russian authors. So I'm very happy that this is Dostoevsky. So talk about that maybe in the beginning.
Okay, so yes, you're very right. When we were growing up, and not so long ago, when we were growing up, Russian book fairs used to be quite a thing. Russian cultural festivals were quite a thing. And I remember Raj Kapoor and Guru Dutt and, these people being the songs on radio and television and films on the Sunday television. So yes, I mean, we've grown up on a healthy diet of Soviet influence while growing up, and then 91 happened, post-liberalization and all that. So yes, I've grown up reading about so many Tatyanas and their red scarves. There used to be a Tatyana with a red scarf in most of those books that we were reading. And when I went to film school, I went to FTI Pune. White Nights was one of the first films that I saw.
Wow.
And I remember breaking down. I remember my entire batch, I think, breaking down after seeing it. So we saw La Strada by Fellini. We saw Dostoevsky Ka White Nights by Visconti. And we saw Wages of Fear. And all 3 are, tragic dramas. So I remember all of us breaking down every evening after the main theatre screening. And then the 3rd night, we were like, we're ready to go back home. We can't take this pathos. We can't take it anymore. And our seniors just, they almost scolded us by telling us ki you can't be crying after every sad movies make me cry nahi hota hai. You have to learn to separate your reason from emotion.
True.
And respond to the film technically, and so that's the memory of White Nights for me, the first introduction to Dostoevsky's White Nights at FTI.
If you follow Aram and Purva Naresh's work, you know that the music being seamlessly part of the theatre is such an inherent part of what she does, what they do. And indeed, through Chandni Raatein, it's beautiful that you have these musicians on stage performing for us live, a wonderful ensemble of musicians, and a fair amount of singing and things like that. Do you start with the music, saying, how's the music going to fit into this one? Or is it the other way around? Because it just looks to me as such an inherent part of what you do.
So sometimes I do that. Look at the music and say, how is this going to fit into a story? But not for this one. This one, I was really wondering, how do I fit music into this, and my kind of music, because my kind of music is all tumris and folk songs and nautankis and bandishes, and here the story is set in St. Petersburg, and I just didn't want to tear it away from St. Petersburg, because have you been to St. Petersburg?
No, I haven't. No.
It's magical, and especially during White Nights. So I went thrice, I think last year or last 2 years. It's magical. It's really like, it's something else. And I have been to Paris. I've been to other cities, European cities, and they're all magical. But this one, just during White Nights, is just amazing, you know. And I didn't want to tear it away from that period, and I didn't want to tear it away from that skyline. And as we talk further, maybe I can tell you what challenges that threw up, not tearing it away from St. Petersburg. But the first challenge was music. How do I fit my nautanki and my folk songs and my bandishes into this cape? And that's when Kaisat Khairda came in, and I realized that I need him to jam with, because his is a very, very Western classical English music world.
Correct.
And mine is a very Desi world. And the two had to collide and create something else. So that's what we did.
Yeah, you know, big ups to Kaisat Khairda, and big ups to what they've managed to do. Not an easy thing, like she says. You know, her usual stuff is all the tumris, the jugalbandis, the bandishes and things like that. But, you know, it didn't seem innocuous even for a moment. It just seemed so beautifully seamless. And I'm so happy that you decided to do that. You know,
yes, it was a risk.
Yeah, it was a risk.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. And I don't know if there's so many other challenges when you adapt a story. But I love the fact that you got Danish Hussain, for example, to play Dostoevsky, and you know, his coming in at the opportune moment and saying what he's saying in the manner that he's saying it. I mean, another theatre veteran there. So talk to me maybe about the casting for a bit now.
So Danish was the first choice for the narrator's voice, because it's a story.
Yeah.
It's a story set across 4 nights. And what has happened, Hrishi, when we were reading Soviet literature, to our reading habits today, or even to our watching habits today, to our story receiving habits today, the plot is very American, or it's very European, you know, which basically means story forward action. There's constant story forward action. Like now you begin with cold opens. Like you have to dunk people straight into an event. This happened. And then you go into 2 years ago or 5 hours earlier, you know.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's how music has become. So when we are sent music by music companies, the chorus starts in the first 5 seconds.
Ah, okay.
Because, I mean, there's no build-up, there's nothing. And this is across the board, whether it's Bollywood music or indie pop or international music. The Ed Sheerans of the world are doing the same thing that the Ali Zafars of the world and the Pratik Kuhars of the world are doing. In 5 seconds, get to that sing-along chorus. Where is the build-up? Where is that? So
have them
continue.
meaning in 5 seconds. That's the attention span. So yes, I mean, to tell a story when nothing literally happens till the last night, like it's a story set across 4 nights, and it's a story, it's a novella, and to turn it into a play, first of all, was challenging, because word is a different medium and stage is a different medium, and then there's no plot, it's only characters and it's only feels. What do you do? So then I had to Danish came in, because we needed a narrator to narrate the story and hold it together between scenes. And who better than Danish to do that, because he's magic with words and with voice, you know. And of course Dostoevsky was the joke thrown in, and we definitely wanted to give a tribute to the writer, so we named him Dostoevsky. And there are lots of jokes in there on Dostoevsky also, but that's just to make him more accessible, I guess. But so that was that. Then Mantra Mugdha, oh my god, Mantra was there with me during that theatre tour that we took, and he was part of the White Nights magic. So he already knew the magic. I didn't have to explain it to him, because magic to you can't explain now.
You can't, yeah.
So he already knew it, he already felt it, and he was familiar with that world. And he's a fabulous singer, he's a great actor. He has a fan following also, I'm told, and I'm sure he does. And he's done the Disney musicals and stuff. So, like, I mean, there was so much going there for him. Girija was the interesting choice, actually, because I've never worked with Girija, and I've never
seen her on stage before this. And I was
Yes.
surprised. I said, who is this girl? Fantastic.
Yes, I mean, we've seen her in Tare Zameen Par romancing Amir Khan, but
I
that was
didn't even
a
remember
long time ago. Yes, but Girija has been around and she has a beautiful voice. And of late, I saw her in a play and I was like, why? Why have I not thought of her earlier? So there, I mean, she sings, she's got the persona, she's got the personality, she's a good actor, and she comes from a family of actors. Like her father is a very well-known actor in the Marathi circuit, so she definitely knows stage. Like that's her playing ground, so her playground. So yeah, so I mean, I got lucky with the casting. And Anamika, and so you see, there are a lot of actors there who do a lot of comedy and do a lot of singing.
Trupti, she's fantastic.
Yes,
Trupti Khamkar, my God, what a bundle of energy, what a talent.
Yeah, so Tripti Khamkar, Anamika, Girish Sharma, Piyush, some of them have already done Rajat's earlier play on Dostoevsky, so they also knew that world. See, it was very important for people to know the world and to know Dostoevsky, or to know theatre, or to know singing, either of the four. So there were 4 boxes that needed to be ticked: either know theatre, either know singing, or know Dostoevsky, or know St. Petersburg, or just wow me with your talent. That was the 5th box.
So I don't want to give too much away, because at the end of the day, if you've not read the piece, then you need to go in there and be surprised. But let's just put it this way. I mean, there's a Divana and there's a Divani, and they meet at strategic points. There's a lot of loneliness, dreariness, but there's also joy. And there's a silent observer through it all, who seems to know more about what's to come and what's happening and things like that. And that really is the magic of the 4 nights. I don't know any other way to describe it without giving too much away. But really, also the transitions and the sets, I was marveling at. Talk about that.
I'm dying to talk about that because I think transitions this time I mastered. I usually am accused of being a filmmaker and I don't write plays, I write screenplays. But this one, I think I cracked the transitions pretty well. Like in theatre, the biggest challenge is how do you skip location from location to location, because you have to do it in, within seconds and without being too clunky. And we had decided to not go for blackouts, because that's what White Nights is about. There is no blackout. There is no night. It's all day or dusk. Dusk blends into dawn. So we were like, we're not going to have any blackouts. And that sounded like a terrific idea. And then when we went to floor, we were like, oh my God, that was a terrible idea. Like if you don't have a blackout, how do you do transitions? And how do you do your cheats? How do you distract the audience? And we finally managed to do it. And please, I mean, those who are interested in knowing this challenge and those who already know about it, come watch the play to see how we've not gone for a single blackout, but we still managed to jump 11 locations, or rather 14 locations, and from a bridge to a room to a bar to the ruins to so many places in St. Petersburg.
I for one love the bar scenes. I love the after the bar shuts down, those moments. I love the ruins. I loved a lot of it, actually. I love the terraces. Talk to me about costumes. I mean, who works on the costumes with you?
Hrishi K worked on the costumes with me. He's worked with me earlier on Lady Sangeet and Aaj Rang Hai for when we shot them, and he is a regular. He's very talented and he's just brilliant.
And what do you do as far as your sets are concerned? Do you sit and sketch them down with your production design person? How does that happen?
I do doodles. I mean, I doodle, but. Kushal Mahan did my sets. He'd also done sets for Lady Sangeet for the televised version. So he's very good again. He's from JJ College of Art, so he sketches. I don't. When I do, he tells me, no, please don't. Just explain to me what you want. My brief to all my technical heads from Asmit to Sanket to Kushal to Harsh was melancholy. I said, so in theatre, and you would know that, you've done theatre yourself, that we explore the ness of things. Like happiness is something you can write, but happiness is not something you can make tactile, right?
True.
You have to make people feel it. You have to evoke it. So even if we say rain in theatre, we can't really make it rain on stage, right? I mean, usually not. So you have to evoke the rainness. You have to deconstruct the rain to sound, feel, visual, anything that can evoke the feeling of monsoons in you. So we went for that, and we said, what is St. Petersburg about? What is the story about? And it all was like percolating down to melancholy. And we said, so melancholy, then romance, then St. Petersburg, then White Nights, then magical, whatever, and then the Dostoevsky-ness. Because we are a colonized nation, so we've read so much Shakespeare. And now we are culturally colonized by America, so we read so much Sorkins and we read so much Neil Simon.
Nobody has put it better.
Sorry.
What we were and what we are.
So even when we were trying a little bit of clowning, I was like, so clown we know from Russia. We don't know clown from, the fool from from Shakespeare. But clown to Russia ka hai. So
Correct.
How do we bring now a clown on stage, which is not what we have seen earlier on our stages? Because we've seen a lot of Shakespeare and clowning in Shakespeare. But how do we do the Dostoevsky clown now from the original land, from the Soviet land? What is this clown? What does he do? What does she do? What do they say? So there were so many new things to, and to go back to, Dostoevsky and say, this is Dostoevsky. People don't read him. People don't know him. If they read him, they'll be like, there is no plot. There is too much character. There's too much stay. There's too much inner world than, outer happening. There's no event really driving the story. It's only just some kind of explorations within and trying to figure out what's the right thing to do, what's the wrong thing to do, and where do I sit in this world of, inner exploration. So yeah, I mean... No,
I'll tell you something. Is that there is a whole new generation, like you're saying, who has not been exposed to this, for the lack of any other way of describing it, socialist literature. I think the Soviets and us had certain things in common, which is why India and Russia were very close at one point in time. As we increasingly moved more and more towards capitalism, and so did they, and we know where both countries are at as of now. There is a feeling that, oh my God, we've lost that commonality. But I think a play like this, literature like this, will make the current generation think of those socialistic ideals. And I'm not even saying communistic, I'm saying socialistic ideals.
And in fact, Dostoevsky was not a communist.
Yeah. So, which is so beautiful. It's a whole world out there waiting to be rediscovered. And I hope all you Gen Z people go and see Chandni Raatein. Just quickly running you through listings again. 1st of March, it's at 7:30 p.m. at the Kamani in Delhi. 2nd of March, there are 2 showings, 4 and 7:30 p.m. Gates open at 7. 2 places to get your tickets from: insider.in, Insider, and District by Zomato. I want to now come to the poetry, the lyric writing. Yeah, and you write yourself. Your father is a noted poet. Talk to me about how it all comes together at AADYAM. Gopal's still your partner? I mean, does he still?
No, he's branched out on his own.
He's branched out on his own, I figured, yeah. But, I mean, interesting bunch of people you've had collaborating over the years on AADYAM plays. Mm-hmm. And, for now, let's talk about this one. Let's talk about how the lyric writing and the poetry came about.
So it had to be a lyrical world because love for me is lyrical. We all listen to songs, we all listen to lyrics, even when when we are in love, or even when you're breaking up, there's always a song there, right, at the back of our head. And then if someone just plays it at the right moment, there you go, waterworks, right? So I think lyrics is a big part, poetry is a big part of our emotional scape, and so it had to be part of this beautiful love story. Now, which poems? So the usual combination is shero shairi or film lyrics, or the lyrics that are familiar and that we know, which rhyme. But here I wanted to discover the world of Naresh Saxena and Vinod Kumar Shukla and one more name that I'm forgetting right now. But the new modern poetry, the poetry that has meter but does not rhyme, but has beautiful sentiments like एक और एक मिलकर दो नहीं होते, ये गलत गणित हमें किसने पढ़ा दिया, एक मैं और एक तुम मिलकर एक ही होते, एक रंग और एक रंग मिलकर एक ही होता है, एक बादल और एक बादल मिलकर एक ही होता है.
Lovely.
So we're not two, we're one in love. And this kind of stuff, and Vinod Kumar Shukla, of course. I mean, and also we were exploring magic realism in the play. Because White Nights is magic realism, right?
Yep.
So we were trying to look at Vinod Kumar Shukla because he is a surrealist. He's he delves into surrealism. He delves into magic realism, and there are a couple of moments in the play where some very strange, you remember the Nautanki moment, like when the man falls in love for the first time, and how the scape suddenly changes and someone starts singing a Nautanki, and it doesn't feel like a Nautanki, and then a ballerina comes zipping out of somewhere, and then this, and when we were blocking.
That to me is Indo-Russian fusion at its best. Yeah, continue.
Yes, but like people suddenly, normal passers-by suddenly break into a song, and that's very Bollywood. We know that very well. But they don't break into a dance. They just stop and they just salute the moment of love, and they break into a song which is Nautanki in St. Petersburg, wearing bowler hats and coats, if you please. And and they were like, what, these hats, how are we singing a Nautanki? The actors were also like a little, hassled. And then I said, listen, just imagine yourself in Hogwarts, right? You guys, you've just
Harry
gotten a
Potter's
muggle
Hogwarts.
and you have dragged him into the world of magic. He's fallen in love. There you go. You're like, oh, love has happened. Muggle, come here. Now you're a part of us. We will give you a rose. We will give you a glass of wine, and we will take you along with us. And I said, and also at the same time translated as जो हम सुनते थे कि जोगियों का टोला आकर इश्क वाले को ले गया. So at the same
that's
time,
what gypsies did.
So it's at the same time the yogis, and it's at the same time the magicians of Hogwarts coming to claim their muggle and take
It's
it
a
away.
wonderful way of explaining it to your actors.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have any doubt in their minds once you said that.
No. And then it just panned out beautifully. So yeah, please come see
Now,
it.
the thing is, you are so connected and so intimately and passionately connected with your own work that I know it's almost like asking a mother, oh my God, which between my two children will I choose? Putting it in a very dramatic manner, but then the length of these plays, your plays are long. Fans of your plays will still wait, will watch, because they're so immersed in such an immersive experience. But it's the same question, in an era of so-called lowered attention spans. Is there pressure on you? And I'm sure there is, from all ends, all quarters. Do you have to stand your ground?
So the intellectual responses, it could have been 10 minutes shorter, and of course it could have been 15 minutes shorter for all you know. But not a single audience member has come to me and said कि ये छोटा हो सकता था. And I'll tell you why. Because when you watch a good film or when you listen to a good song, do you want it to end?
You don't.
You play it on a loop, right? And the film, you just don't want it to end. You want to stay with the magic. Only if it's not working do you or it's kind of working, you're like, okay, fine, now I've got the point, move on, let me go home, let me do something better.
Also, and sorry to interrupt, but it's daunting when the brochure comes to you and you say, oh my God, so many minutes. But when the play starts, you don't know where time goes. You're just so immersed that it's just a number at the end of the day. Continue. Yeah.
Right. So I don't think I've got this feedback from the fans or the common man, but I mean, the peers are always helping you with, notes post show, and this is a constant feedback. It could have been 10 minutes shorter, but honestly, I give that feedback to most of my peers, colleagues as well. It could have been a little shorter, but yes, of course, it can always be a little shorter. And no, there was no pressure from anyone to keep it. Not from anyone else, like not from the makers, from the presenters or the sponsors, from the actors, nobody.
That's wonderful. So big ups to all the curators at AADYAM who put things together. Is it still Shanaz and Nadir and all these people? Yeah.
Yes, Shanaz and Nadir.
Shanaz, Nadir
and Brian.
To give Purva wings to fly and not curb her and say, oh my God, you got to cut corners here, do this, do that. I think that really is the vision of AADYAM, the Aditya Birla Group initiative, and 7 seasons and counting, doing very well. And for you too, that must be such a, cash-strapped as theatre is. You're always dependent on word of mouth, small cuttings here and there. To have that kind of corporate support always helps, doesn't it? Yeah.
It always doesn't help, because whenever corporate support comes in, it comes in conditionally. It comes in with, either brand placement or something or the other, But here, AADYAM never forces you to do anything. In fact, when you were saying that Shanaz, Brian, and Nadir, yes, they are the curators, and they put their faith in me, and they asked me to put in the pitch this year as well. But when I went to meet Mr. Birla for the first time for the AADYAM grant, or whatever we may call it, that was like about 8 to 10 years ago. I was younger and young, and I was also the first woman director that they were going to promote or consider. I was also the original scriptwriter. Like till then, they were only doing adaptations.
Correct.
So I was the original script. I was first, probably, or the second Hindi play, and I was the first woman that they were going to put their money on. And I had nothing to show really. I had no big play. I only had Aaj Range, which was like nothing compared to the scales that AADYAM expects from its directors and producers. So I really was a first in many ways, and I had no script. I just had a plot line. Mr. Birla just heard me out. He met me, and that was it. And ever since then, I've been constantly, I think, say a year or two, I've been doing AADYAM. So yeah, I'm saying big thanks to him too. And this one was very ambitious. This is not my world, Hrishi. My world is very desi. My world is Aaj Range, it's Bandish, world of musicians, or it's Lady Sangeet at best, wedding house. But this is just totally out of my escape. And he still trusted, and Shanaz and Nadir still trusted me. Brian trusted me, and then Mr. Birla trusted me. And I'm so happy because I think I even surprised myself, really.
More than surprise is what she's going to do to you when you get to the Kamani. 1st and 2nd of March. Tickets are at insider.in as well as District by Zomato. Wonderful theatre, isn't it? I mean, when you think Delhi, you think Kamani.
Yeah, I think Kamani.
There's Sri Ram Center, there's Kamani, but it's beautiful.
You know my history with Kamani, right? I was studying dance and music at Sri Ram Bharati Kala Kendra.
Yeah, I know. You were studying dance there. Correct,
and they own Kamani. So the F row used to be is still reserved for the Kamani people. So we were the Kamani people. We were told by Shobha Deepak Singh, walk in and watch all those concerts, and the F row is for you. So we used to be the ones walking in late while others are clamoring for tickets. We would just walk in casually in our chappals after dinner. Oh, let's go to Kamani and sit in the F row and watch this, whatever, So yeah, it was like another FTII main theatre for us. So
lovely. You're going back home.
Yes, I'm going back home.
Please give this her labour of love more support, because it means so much to her. AADYAM Theatre presents Chandni Raatein. Purva Naresh directs, and you really should see it. Give it all your love. Thank you, Purva.
Thank you, Hrishi.
94.3 Radio 1.